I like it. A little bit simple. Oh boy. A little saucy in here, right? A little hot. Hat forward or backwards. My hat. Not the other hat. My hat. This way? Or this way? This is like the classic look. Yeah, I've been trying to take off my hat for a while. You know what I mean? Don't let it go over your head. But yeah. Nah. Okay, you can get a good angle if I'm sitting here?
Where's that sit? Right here?
Wherever you want. You can sit right here. Do you think? Okay. So it's like magnetic. So one goes in here. Oh shit! I think it fell. Oh yeah. I see the bust down chain too, man.
But took that Nazi chain and made it bust, but I wonder where with this, but the part comes out a little bit too low. Like it need to sit right there. I got a white leather one that falls right in the perfect place.
Really?
Yeah.
You got this made specifically.
Absolutely. The leather, the nigga KKK shit. Hold on again. I think the best place for the photo. Can we move that to the side? Damn, can't move this shit up. It'll be like here. Or
But it's just a designer at heart, man. Like
I need to get a very, like if you had that chair.
If we had like two of them, right, it would probably work. If you're looking for that type of look.
I should just stand. The best thing would be right here. And then you put your chair right there. Take my Timbs.
So like
It's gonna get you what clout is gonna get you, what money is gonna get you over. Is this the right thing for your children? And you know, I'm willing to die for my children or to allow them to be in this kind of environment that I know they're in. And what I noticed on the comments, they always used to try to, like, for the past 10 years, they used to try to write me off. Oh, he's so crazy, he's so crazy. I'm seeing the comments is now like 60, 70%, like, yo, he's just telling you exactly what's going on. He's just the only one that's in a position to be able to do it because I don't have any brand sponsorships. It's like I'm past cancel. So these people out here, they toying, they playing. It's interesting. The swastika, I want to just, I know we have a little bit of time. I want to tell you, by doing it, it's sort of like a magnet where people get so mad and they start exposing themselves because the Jews, they move in the tunnels. They move where you can't see them. They're an invisible hand, and they'll get like, what they'll do is they'll threaten people. Oh, we're going to take your tours away. We're going to drop your orders. You got to say this. You like, how many people I stand with my Jewish people, 3 years ago. And what I did is I stood on it this time. I never backed down. That's my whole thing. That's why I was mad about removing that somebody taught me into removing that Jay-Z tweet, because it was just like, nah, the whole idea is no matter what, I'm not going to back down. So by doing the swastika chain, it then ruffled some feathers. And then I really saw the comparison of me and Puff with the Diageo and the Adidas situation. Yeah. Regardless, if they could have locked me up for taxes and that, they wasn't playing fair. Like, okay, cool, fair deal. You did good, we did good. It's like, no, you leaving with nothing. We have to destroy you. Even though they came and used us to tap into the culture and make money off of black people and people who enjoy black culture. If we said like, yo, you doing this wrong, you stealing my style, you taking all of my employees, you taking Jerry Lorenzo and making him do my same designs as he's the agreeable Kamala nigga. They started lowering the budgets for Puff. So I related to Puff, and then they pulled out a video with him and Cassie from 10 years ago. And then it made everybody be like, oh, Puff's a woman beater, so he's the devil. He needs to be in jail. right? Meanwhile, I don't know somebody who hasn't gotten to an altercation with a girl at one point, and including Cardi. So now Cardi's like he the number one guy at Rolling Loud, and Puff is in jail. And then you got two women beaters and you got two supposed pedophiles. Watch this. You got three. Watch this. Cardi, Puffy, Kendrick, the two pedophiles. Drake, R. Kelly, or supposed. Puffy and R. Kelly are in jail with Drake. 5 years from now, however long, when they feel like they really want to get that boy up out here, they're gonna play the Kendrick song. So that's how far they going. The Kendrick mix with the Universal, all that takedown of Drake reminds me of the No Diddy campaign for Diddy. Like they going all out, but see, I know how to go all out, and I'm not even in that position. I just work on behalf of God. Like how this shit comes together, the timing, everything is like a God sense. So I had a couple of things I want to say. So I pushed in to the Puff song. I put my daughter on the song. The timing was so perfect. She went in, rapped it. She said, I'm getting sleepy. So she said, okay, good night. And that was the end. And she was giving me like the Lil Kim on the old Bad Boy record. So that's why we put that. And the idea was family. It's so many people who dad actually killed somebody and they would do anything to have their dad home. The two twins, and Christian lost their mama died and their daddy in jail, and everybody running around listening to murder music, right? But being like Puff is the enemy. And when I see all these videos, all tapes, everything, Puff more like my twin. Me and him got into it because it's just like I'm telling these top 5 niggas, it's like, yo, actually we probably could be friends, but nigga, you ain't bringing none of that shit over here, nigga. Y'all niggas ain't as crazy as me. And that's why I asked Puff back in the days. It's like, man, how you just made it through all this shit tonight? He's like, I'm the craziest one, nigga. It's like, so once them people, we family, we can get into it. But they started taking that shit too far. I started taking it personal at a certain point with Puff, like all of the media. Because I wake up every day, whether I did something positive, negative, somebody got something negative to say. You know what I'm saying? So I relate to the idea of being torn down by the media. You know what I'm saying? But keep going on. I know, because we got a short amount of time. I just want to hit you with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, So like the whole thing about, and even when there's an outfit, the swastika, I think some people they feel like they're spreading hate. And encouraging violence versus people.
The thing that I forgot to say was when my daughter was put on song, that's when I realized that I didn't own their name and likeness. So watch this. All the brands that I've made, I don't get the name and likeness ownership, or at least 50-50 with my kids. So how's it joint custody? My kids are celebrities and I don't have to say so. So watch this one. So this white woman and this white family had the control of these highly influential black kids that are half the children of Ye. And that's just in everybody's face. And they was playing in my face like that. I try to go to champagne and keep it calm. And my dad would call me, say, hey, don't go in on that woman because it's going to affect the children. But now it's like, it's war. Y'all niggas, they think they too powerful. The Jews think they too powerful. They think they could get Cardi to play with me. They think they too powerful. They think they could get Kim to play with me. The Jews and the whites above the Jews. You got what I'm saying? My life is on this shit now. These are my children. Cardi, you could leave me off the album and do that faggot ass trap shit if you want. But now you mention my daughter, like the whole plan is that y'all gonna pull my kids into y'all, whatever the word is, Illuminati system, and I don't have no say-so of my kids, nigga. And anybody close, whether it's the Jews, whether it's Cardi, anybody within my reach, I'm doing everything legally in my power, everything of my fucking mastermind.
So what Kanye is talking about here is the Illuminati are after his kids. So, and then he goes on to talk about Beyonce and Jay-Z. So this is all going to line up very simply to the Epstein files.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm about to tweet this shit. I want Kendrick to always remember that Jay-Z tweet before he ever crossed the line.
Okay.
Nobody that worked for none of these fucking labels wanted with the king. I am the Don. Lucian, don't send none of your motherfucking slaves. Don't send nobody because they getting their head torn off. Quick. We ain't got no problem. Ain't no motherfuckers. I'm the only king. I'm the only nigga that'll go up against these niggas. I'm the only nigga that survived through this shit. You know what I'm saying? Me, pussy ass, faggot ass, pink polo ass nigga. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never killed nobody ass nigga. Fuck all you niggas. All you street niggas, all you rap niggas, just any nigga that ever said something about my fucking hat. None of these niggas, Jay-Z, Beyoncé, you ain't helped me when I fucking was having problems with my kids. You could have used your influence. No, your influence is for politics. Your influence is how you could use a nigga you never wanted to sign anyway, that Dame signed. You ain't show up to my first fucking wedding. You ain't my family. I always wanted some kind of family. Never had family out here. So what the fuck? And then they take my actual blood family from me in my face. All right, so go ahead. I just had to get that stream of content. Thank you very much, sir.
Of course. I mean, I'm intrigued by, and I think people look at some of the stuff you say on face value. I see how, you know, there's three themes that come across with everything with you.
Yeah.
It's betrayal, it's being used, and your ideas, whether it's what you say or what you create, being censored. And I think every time I see it, no matter what you do, it falls under one of those. Like betrayal, there's a shit ton of people.
Yeah.
I mean, like even the Jay, you don't regret the tweet, because if he said something about your daughter, you'd probably be upset, right?
He should be upset. You know, I ask people, like if I know somebody that's woke, like I knew this girl that only like hangs around really super woke, like some of like fat black girl models is like her friends type shit. And I was like, yo, you gotta tell me, you know what tweets y'all didn't like.
Yeah.
You gotta tell me what hurts so I could do it more.
Why?
Because that's when we're weakening the enemy. We're breaking them down. All this, I'm a fat bitch on the runway. I'm so powerful. No, you're not. You're causing death. That shit is unhealthy. Let's do statistics on black obesity rates. Everything that's being pushed in the media is about decentralizing and tearing down communities. Even I low-key feel like the ICE is like basically like doing to the Latin communities what they did to the black communities. It's everything to decentralize, remove the fathers. Also, I had this theory that I just wanted to say, wait a second, I have another theory. It's about football and music industry, but I want you to get that Jay-Z answer. You get what I'm saying? Because everybody's like, what about the fact that everybody knows what I'm saying is true related to that photo that I put up with my youngest daughter, right? But everything is like, but you offended Jay-Z. Fuck him. You know what I'm saying? Put it like this. Let's take it to money. How much money do you think Jay-Z make off my catalog versus what I make off it? Next subject.
Well, some people might feel like, well, like even with the situation with your kids, I hear you speak about that a lot, that nobody really spoke on your behalf. Yeah. But even when you speak about Kim, people might be like, well, you picked her. Like you put yourself in that.
Absolutely, I did. That was my fault.
Maybe they're saying that you don't take accountability.
No, that was my fault. I didn't want to have children with this person after the first 2 months of being with her. But that wasn't God's plan. But my issue with all these faggot ass celebrity niggas is, if you ain't gonna speak on my behalf of the situation I'm in right now with my children or where I was when I asked for the help years ago, don't talk about my political views. Plus your T. Like, nigga, I bled for you. If nigga asks you about me, say we ain't speaking on Ye. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how y'all looking at me like a Vic, because you a street nigga. But it ain't that time no more. I'm the lawyer off Carlito's way. I'm the boss. You niggas is broke. You niggas is not masterminds. And you niggas should never have ever gone. Look at John Legend, old sissy ass. I ain't never do nothing wrong to that nigga. I changed generations of his life. And they got out that faggot ass hot sweater nigga come up and just this nigga.
So what Kanye is talking about here, just kind of break it down a little bit, is he's talking about industry people who he wants to help him, like with his kids. So I guess the Illuminati, the higher ups, all these people are conspiring to try to, make money off his kids, and Kim is kind of with them, and Jay-Z and all his so-called friends aren't stepping up to really help him. So that's where where Kanye is coming from. So we're going to go to some other video. I'm going to come back to this video to tie it all in. I'm going to come back to this video, and I got some more videos. We're going to tie it all in. Just have patience. But it's going to be interesting type of things here. Let's go.
There is a very long list of A-list celebrities that have unfollowed Jay-Z after the Epstein files released yesterday, which included his name. Of course, this also happened to Pusha T, who was also on there and had a bunch of people, A-list celebrities and other fans unfollow him. And one of those people, I guess two specifically, that unfollowed Jay-Z were Apple Music and NFL. Now, what's specifically important about that is Apple Music and NFL are the ones that help Jay-Z select the artist for the Super Bowl halftime performance. From my knowledge, Jay-Z plays a pretty large role in the selection of the artist for the Super Bowl. And now that, NFL and Apple Music does not follow him, I'm very curious to see what that could mean for the future of the Super Bowl halftime performance selection. Because that is something that very well could change. So I guess, time really will tell on this, but I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see. There is a very long list of A-list celebrities that have unfollowed Jay-Z after the Epstein files released yesterday, which included his name. Of course, this also happened to Pusha T, who was also on there and had a bunch of people.
And right on cue, 50 Cent, who has a long history of trolling Jay-Z, jumped in on Instagram. He joked about making a full documentary on it, sparking even more drama. But here's the thing, Jay-Z's legal team has a reputation for acting fast, especially when it comes to protecting his name and image. Any false claim or doc hinted at this could quickly turn into legal issues. Now, people have been asking the obvious question. Why would someone even link Jay-Z to Epstein back in the 90s? The timelines don't line up. Jay-Z wasn't the global powerhouse he is now, and Epstein's high-profile network was mostly tied to politics and finance back then. Plus, anyone can file an intake form with the FBI. It's a tip line, not proof. That context matters massively. And right on cue, 50 Cent, who has a long history of trolling Jay-Z, jumped in on Instagram. He joked about making a full documentary.
Blank, which is, I'm assuming, like one of, her like perpetrators in blank state. An unknown man abducted her from her home when she later awoke in the presence of Harvey Weinstein and Sean Carter, Jay-Z. So she apparently lived at this residence with somebody I'm assuming is also a perpetrator, and they kidnapped her. They abducted her from that home, and she woke up to the presence of Harvey Weinstein and Jay-Z, while Weinstein apparently had his fingers into, we can probably guess where he had his finger into. All right. Now, she believed that she was in Epstein's mansion in Florida. Now, she estimated she was abducted on 7 occasions. Now, hold on, man. 7? Awakened each time in an opulent indoor setting. She suffered from abuse on multiple of those occasions in which Epstein participated. She recalled that Leon Black and William Barr, current United States Attorney General, being present during some of the occasion of abuse. In approximately 2006, she last recalled being abused by Epstein. Now, okay, so this started in 1994 and lasted to about 2006. I'm assuming at some point here she stopped being a minor, right? Yeah, like I'm assuming, let's just say she was 14 in 1994. That would mean by 1998 she became 18, and this lasted until 2006. Now I'm not questioning, whatever she went through as a minor. If she's being truthful about what happened here is very unfortunate. But for this to last until 2006, like there's something very wrong with that picture from my perspective, to be honest. From her story, she didn't really list anything that Jay-Z did specifically, but she did say that Harvey Weinstein, digitally penetrated her, but Jay-Z didn't, penetrate her. Jay-Z was just present, which to me is just as bad, right? Like if this alleged minor was abducted from her home, brought to an Epstein mansion, and it was you, Harvey Weinstein, and Epstein there, and this minor was enduring abuse in your presence, to me, you are just as guilty as whoever is doing the abuse. I don't distinguish the difference between the two. Whoever is there is just as guilty and equally as guilty. But again, this is just a tip, right? Now, however this tip was investigated, no charges were ever brought. Right, like as far as I know, Jay-Z was never brought for a subpoena, a deposition, nothing. And this particular tip didn't go anywhere. But because the tip came in by Epstein, it was included in the Epstein files. Fortunately for Pusha T, we can't.
Nervous that this complex system, that something was deeply wrong.
Okay, first, let's go back. When I say no one understands the system better than I do, it doesn't mean I
You always
understand.
sound like a doctor. You're afraid he's going to get sued for giving a thing.
Yes,
you're not,
no,
gonna, you're
no,
not
no,
taking
no.
on any liability. There's no contingent liability
Yes.
here for
Yeah,
your
no,
answers.
no.
Fortunately for Pusha T, we can't say the same because she did list things that Pusha T did specifically. Now, it will continue and it will state on each occasion she believes she was drugged, clouded her memory. She attributed the drugging as frequently performed by persons assigned as handlers. Now, one of the handlers she would say will be Pusha T, because at the time, I would say Pusha T don't really belong in those rooms. Pusha T was not a superstar. He was not a megastar. He wasn't somebody of importance. So if somebody like Pusha T was in those rooms, Pusha T would probably be the handler, right? The doughboy, the do-boy, right? The store runner, right? Because Pusha T wasn't no megastar. Jay-Z, I can understand Jay-Z being in rooms with Epstein and Harvey Weinstein. Pusha T don't really fit in those rooms at all, bro. That's like you seen Poetic Flacco in a room with Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. You will say, what is this dirtball doing in this room? I'm probably the handler in that regard. Okay, so this story makes sense, to be honest. Again, I'm not saying Pusha is guilty of anything. I'm just saying Pusha role being in that room makes sense. Okay. Now it will continue, and she will say, among her handlers, she identified the artist Pusha T. In approximately 2007, she attended a party following invitation from an unknown man who approached her as she walked down the street. Weinstein and Pusha T also attended the party and drugged her before engaging in abuse. So now Pusha T went from being just a handler to now Pusha T was also engaging in the abuse. Now, she claimed to have additional information of other persons involved in the enterprise and information related to the racketeering conducted in support of the trafficking. She further believed she was under surveillance and stalked at the direction of people involved in the abuse. She confirmed she was not diagnosed with any mental illness. She refused to provide her physical address, advising that she maintained no permanent address. Rather, she moved between staying at different hotels. So this was somebody who was homeless, which I don't know if that gives more credibility or takes it away. I'm not about to, like diminish the abuse just because it's somebody right now probably in a position that's unfavorable. Right, a lot of people see a homeless woman making these allegations and they'll probably say, crazy. I don't know, man. Now, what I would say, man, is Kanye West have been telling us for years that one of these dudes was on Epstein Island, that one of these dudes were involved with Epstein, but we just ain't been paying attention. This song wasn't dropped too long ago, right? On World War III version 2, Kanye West says, know some ninjas that went to that island. Why the F would you? Fortunately for Pusha T, we can't say the same because she did list things that Pusha T did specifically. Now, it will continue and it will state on each occasion she believes she was drugged, clouded her memory. She attributed the drugging as frequently performed by persons assigned as handlers. Now, one of the handlers she would say will be Pusha T, because at the time, I would say Pusha T don't really belong in those rooms. Pusha T was not a superstar. He was not a megastar. He wasn't somebody of importance. So if somebody like Pusha T was in those rooms, Pusha T would probably be the handler, right? The doughboy, the do-boy, right? The store runner, right? Because Pusha T wasn't no megastar. Jay-Z, I can understand Jay-Z being in rooms with Epstein and Harvey Weinstein. Pusha T don't really fit in those rooms at all, bro. That's like you seen Poetic Flacco in a room with Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. You will say, what is this dirtball doing in this room? I'm probably the handler in that regard. Okay, so this story makes sense, to be honest. Again, I'm not saying Pusha is guilty of anything. I'm just saying Pusha role being in that room makes sense. Okay, now it will continue, and she will say, among her handlers, she identified the artist Pusha T. In approximately 2007, she attended a party following invitation from an unknown man who approached her as she walked down the street. Weinstein and Pusha T also attended the party and drugged her before engaging in abuse. So now Pusha T went from being just a handler to now Pusha T was also engaging in the abuse. Now, she claimed to have additional information of other persons involved in the enterprise and information related to the racketeering conducted in support of the trafficking. She further believed she was under surveillance and stalked at the direction of the people involved in the abuse. She confirmed she was not diagnosed with any mental illness. She refused to provide her physical address, advising that she maintained no permanent address. Rather, she moved between staying at different hotels. So this was somebody who was homeless, which I don't know if that gives more credibility or takes it away. I'm not about to, like diminish the abuse just because of somebody right now probably in a position that's unfavorable. Right, a lot of people see a homeless woman making these allegations and they'll probably say, crazy. I don't know, man. Now, what I would say, man, is Kanye West have been telling us for years that one of these dudes was on Epstein Island, that one of these dudes were involved with Epstein, but we just ain't been paying attention. This song wasn't dropped too long ago, right? On World War III version 2, Kanye West says, know some ninjas that went to that island. Why the F would you? Fortunately for Pusha T, we can't say the same because she did list things that Pusha T did specifically. Now, it will continue and it will state on each occasion she believes she was drugged, clouded her memory. She attributed the drugging as frequently performed by persons assigned as handlers. Now, one of the handlers she would say will be Pusha T, because at the time, I would say Pusha T don't really belong in those rooms. Pusha T was not a superstar. He was not a megastar. He wasn't somebody of importance. So if somebody like Pusha T was in those rooms, Pusha T would probably be the handler, right? The doughboy, the do-boy, right? The store runner, right? Because Pusha T wasn't no megastar. Jay-Z, I can understand Jay-Z being in rooms with Epstein and Harvey Weinstein. Pusha T don't really fit in those rooms at all, bro. That's like you seen Poetic Flacco in a room with Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. You will say, what is this dirtball doing in this room? I'm probably the handler in that regard. Okay, so this story makes sense, to be honest. Again, I'm not saying Pusha is guilty of anything. I'm just saying Pusha role being in that room makes sense. Okay, now it will continue, and she will say, among her handlers, she identified the artist Pusha T. In approximately 2007, she attended a party following invitation from an unknown man who approached her as she.
So what we see here is, will this change the legacy of Jay-Z and Beyoncé? Will it? I mean, Jay-Z's been said to be on an island, and that's not. This is a pretty bad look for the type of person he's been in and out throughout the community in the rap game. He's over there on that island. What was he doing over there? So this is some very vicious allegations, and there is proof. So now what's going to happen? Now we know it won't be no prosecution then, because I think the case is long over. But will this change the legacy of Jigga and Bay? That's the question. That's the question we got to ask. These two
There is a very long list of A-list celebrities that have unfollowed Jay-Z after the Epstein files released yesterday, which included his name. Of course, this also happened to Pusha T, who was also on there and had a bunch of people, A-list celebrities and other fans unfollow him. And one of those people, well, I guess two specifically that unfollowed Jay-Z were Apple Music and NFL. Now, what's specifically important about that is Apple Music and NFL are the ones that help Jay-Z select the artist for the Super Bowl halftime performance. From my knowledge, Jay-Z plays a pretty large role in the selection of the artist for the Super Bowl. And now that, NFL and Apple Music does not follow him, I'm very curious to see what that could mean for the future of the Super Bowl halftime performance selection. Because that is something that very well could change. So I guess, time really will tell on this, but I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see. There is a very long list of A-list celebrities that have unfollowed Jay-Z after.
So unfollow means that they want to separate themselves from these allegations, which is pretty serious, right? In a way where it could definitely hurt the brand. Once again, prosecution won't happen. But let's go look at some more. I think academics does a good job.
In 1996, she turned 17. So she turned 17 on January 19th, finding out about Billboard. Now she puts an associated picture, and the picture shows a 26-year-old Jay-Z with supposedly a 15-year-old Aaliyah. Weird here. But if someone's 18 and their girl is 17, I don't think we're like going crazy, right? 18 and 17, all right. Especially if the birthday's about to come up, they're both about to be 18, whatever, right? But 26 and 17 might be a little bit odd. Let's look though. Let's say if it was 1996, right? Aaliyah was 17 in 1996. How old was Jay-Z in 1996? We can't go off the picture. We just got to go off. He was 27. Or 26. 26 or 27. Who knows? 27 or 26 and 17 is odd. I will say that. That's odd. Now, we might never get the answers to these things, but is this a picture from 1996? Was he romantically involved with her in 1996? Let me look. Jay-Z and Aaliyah in 1996. Let's see if we can find credible evidence. We need credible evidence. There's a Facebook post. Aaliyah and Jay-Z were briefly connected in the late 90s. During the early stages of her career, and while Jay-Z was a rising hip-hop artist. Their relationship was never confirmed, but people close to them, including industry insiders, have said Jay-Z was pursuing her, and they did spend time together. It became more complicated when she ultimately grew closer to Dame Dash. Now, I'm going to be honest. I think a lot of this stuff is debunked by Dame Dash, who has frequently said he had sex with Aaliyah first. And he swore that
when the sawdust settles and the engine roars, the thing you care about is a job well done. But when you get your tools from Harbor Freight, something about the job feels different. Your wallet, whatever you do.
In 1996, she turned 17. So she turned 17 on January 19th, finding out about Billboard. Now, she puts an associated picture, and the picture shows a 26-year-old Jay-Z with supposedly a 15-year-old Aaliyah. Weird here. But if someone's 18 and their girl is 17, I don't think we're like going crazy, right? 18 and 17, all right. Especially if the birthday's about to come up, they're both about to be 18, whatever, right? But 26 and 17 might be a little bit odd. Let's look though. Let's say if it was 1996, right? Aaliyah was 17 in 1996. How old was Jay-Z in 1996? We can't go off the picture. We just got to go off. He was 27. Ugh. Or 26 or 27. Who knows? 27 or 26 and 17 is odd. I will say that. That's odd. Now, we might never get the answers to these things, but is this a picture from 1996? Was he romantically involved with her in 1996? Let me look. Jay-Z and Aaliyah in 1996. Let's see if we can find credible evidence. We need credible evidence. There's a Facebook post. Aaliyah and Jay-Z were briefly connected in the late 90s during the early stages of her career. And while Jay-Z was a rising hip-hop artist, their relationship was never confirmed, but people close to them, including industry insiders, have said Jay-Z was pursuing her, and they did spend time together. It became more complicated when she ultimately grew closer to Dame Dash. Now, I'm going to be honest. I think a lot of this stuff is debunked by Dame Dash, who has frequently said he had sex with Aaliyah first. And he swore that
when the sawdust settles and the engine roars, the thing you care about is a job well done.
And right on cue, 50 Cent, who has a long history of trolling Jay-Z, jumped in on Instagram. He joked about making a full documentary on it, sparking even more drama. But here's the thing.
Beyoncé and Jay-Z are now the most unfollowed Instagram accounts in the last 24 hours, following Jay-Z being named in the Epstein files. I mean, going from 320 and 4.4 to 308 and 1 million is actually insane. Beyonce's comment section is also not letting her breathe. They're saying your husband has been named in the Epstein files along Harvey Weinstein. Talks about your husband being in the files. You see your husband, you join him. LMAO, your husband likes. Ugh. Did you know about your husband? Use your voice. Silence is no longer neutral. Where you at, girl? Your husband's in the Jeffrey Epstein files. Nikki never lies. Now, some strings are definitely being pulled behind the scenes after the Shade Room posted and deleted this. Other major blog pages like Pop Base, Pop Crave, TMZ, The Hollywood Reporter, none of them have came forward to post about this. Regardless, it looks like those close to Jay-Z are taking this personally. The NFL themselves unfollowed Jay-Z. We know he works heavily with them. Apple Music unfollowed him. Y'all, even Rihanna herself unfollowed Jay-Z. I guess Kendrick Lamar was projecting when he said that predator move in flocks, that name gotta be registered and placed on Neighborhood Watch. Drake already claps back at the situation, posting this lyrics from the song Two Birds, One Stone. We know Pusha T tried to come for him, and so did Jay-Z and Kendrick. So I'm still waiting for Nicki to show up and say her few words, because I know she's gagging behind the scenes after all of this has been exposed. But what are y'all's thoughts? Beyoncé and Jay-Z are now the most unfollowed Instagram accounts in the last 24 hours, following Jay-Z being named in the Epstein files. I mean, going from 320 and 4.4 to 308 and 1 million is actually insane. Beyonce's comment section is also not letting her breathe. They're saying your husband has been named in the Epstein files along Harvey Weinstein. Talks about your husband being in the files. You see your husband, you join him. LMAO, your husband likes. Ugh. Did you know about your husband? Use your voice. Silence is no longer neutral. Where you at, girl? Your husband's in the Jeffrey Epstein files. Nikki never lies. Now, some strings are definitely being pulled behind the scenes after the Shade Room posted and deleted this. Other major blog pages like Pop Base, Pop Crave, TMZ, The Hollywood Reporter, none of them have came forward to post about this. Regardless, it looks like those close to Jay-Z are taking this personally. The NFL themselves unfollowed Jay-Z. We know he works heavily with them. Apple Music unfollowed him. Y'all, even Rihanna herself unfollowed Jay-Z. I guess Kendrick Lamar was projecting when he said that predator move in flocks, that name got to be registered and placed on neighborhood watch. Drake already claps back at the situation, posting this lyrics from the song Two Birds, One Stone. We know Pusha T tried to come for him, and so did Jay-Z and Kendrick. So
if you take people like Jay-Z and fucking Pusha T, they made their living killing our people. So how the fuck they gonna stand up for our people? You know what I'm saying? But we forget that because we love Jay-Z's music so much. We love Pusha's music so much, right? But you think they would ever, Beyonce had the best for somebody else?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You think they would ever tell the truth? No, if they told the truth, they'd go to jail. You know what I'm saying? So you have liars.
Yeah.
Liars are now the face of our culture. If you take people like Jay-Z and fucking Pusha T, they made their living killing our people. So how the fuck they gonna stand up for our people? You know what I'm saying? But we forget that because we love Jay-Z's music so much. We love Pusha's music so much, right? But you think they would ever, Beyonce had the best for somebody else?
Yeah.
The Epstein files just got released, and there's a lot of surprising names on here, but no name is more surprising than Jay-Z and Pusha T. Back in 2019, when Epstein was initially arrested, the FBI opened up a tip line. And the tip line was for anybody with any type of information on Epstein, his co-conspirators, if you were a young woman who was there, because the Epstein network was so vast that when the FBI arrested Epstein, for the most part, they thought they didn't even uncover 1% of the iceberg. So this tip line was opened up. Now, this tip line had a lot of accusations coming through. Unfortunately for Jay-Z and Pusha T, they both had allegations about themselves come through the tip line. In the case of Jay-Z, he's beyond cooked in the eyes of public perception because the victim came forward July 10th, 2019, 8:20 a.m. Eastern.
Now, this is a lot of drizzle, drip, drip, drip. A lot of drip, drip, some smoke, a little bit of fire. Where this is going to lead, I don't know. But how people view Jay-Z, he's losing a lot of business partners. He's losing a lot of brand deals. A lot of people are backing away from him because they don't want any association. I don't think Beyonce is going to go anywhere, but it definitely will put pressure on her. Image is everything. Image is everything in this country, right? And that right there, the Epstein files, people look at that as very, very problematic. Jay-Z's probably going to come out and give some statements soon with his lawyers. He's probably going to come give some statements because he's losing probably a lot of money, right? He's pulling a lot. I mean, it ain't going to make him broke, but he's losing a lot of money. He's losing a lot of doors are closing on association with him due to these drip, drip. And who knows who name's going to come next, right? I'm sure there's a bunch of names going to come down the line. Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton said they were going to testify, but then they changed their mind. They don't want to testify anymore, probably because it's some very powerful people. Because there's a lot of powerful people in there, man. So I don't know how much this list is going to come out. Man, I'm sure, let's say, let's hope nobody like Obama or, like that come out. So we're definitely going to find out here in the future whose name's going to come out. I believe the files will be disappear. I believe they're going to stop this. It's just too many powerful people. Too many powerful people with power and what's happened to Jay-Z would definitely happen to them. So yeah, this is going to be a very stressed out and long process here.
On July 10th, 2019 at 8:20 a.m. Eastern, the particular victim called the FBI National Threat Operations Center to identify herself as a victim of abuse by Jeffrey Epstein and others. Now, they provided the following information. So this essentially is like a transcript of what they provided. So they said in approximately 1994, there's a bunch of redaction. I'm assuming is victim names, et cetera, et cetera. So this got redacted, but she revealed herself to blank, which I'm assuming is like the call center employee that answered this call, as a past victim of abuse by Jeffrey Epstein. She described the abuse occurred during parties. Now, we all know, a bunch of these abuse did happen at these parties, right? I think Jeffrey Epstein was known to throw these really like wild parties that had these like wild massages. I think like in like the first little piece of Epstein files that kind of got released like a couple of years ago, we heard, like there were like midgets there, like there were like really, 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 really tiny people, like 4'9" midgets, and like people indulged in that. Like it was Jeffrey Epstein apparently provided you with whatever your speed was. If your speed was dwarfs, he would provide you with dwarfs. Okay. That's what went down at these parties. Okay. So yeah. So apparently she was brought to parties and she was the party favor for a bunch of weirdos and creep. Redactions right here are very suspicious. So blank. So this is like the victim's name. Further identified blank as a friend of blank. I'm assuming blank and blank are not minors. Blank and blank are people in high position of power. So she will claim that in approximately 1996, which is about 2 years after this whole nonsense began to happen, where she was being used as party favors at Epstein. Apparently, she resided with blank, which is I'm assuming like one of her like perpetrators in blank state. An unknown man abducted her from her home when she later awoke in the presence of Harvey Weinstein. The Epstein files just got released, and there's a lot of surprising names on here, but no name is more surprising than Jay-Z and Pusha T. Back in 2019, when Epstein was initially arrested, the FBI opened up a tip line. And the tip line was for anybody with any type of information on Epstein, his co-conspirators, if you were a young woman who was there.
So, the main thing is what's going to come of this, right? It's going to be a lot of reputation smut's going to happen. A lot of people are very anti, children pornography and all that other stuff. So this will take a turn for Jay-Z. Beyonce will get a lot of heat for staying with him. But I'm sure she was. Who knows how many girls are on the island as well, right? We just don't. It's just a lot of people. A lot of people. Epstein was obviously somebody stabbed him in the back because the people who was going over there were the people who approved of him to do this, right? He was doing it for them. This was part of their rituals and stuff they like doing. And so somebody got him out the way. FBI came in, tapped him up. But, for the list to come out, the question is, how many names on that list and whose name is on that list? We know Jay-Z's on there. But we got to see who else's name is on there. If you don't bring Jay-Z's name out, you might as well bring everybody else out too.
Beyoncé and Jay-Z are now the most unfollowed Instagram accounts in the last 24 hours, following Jay-Z being named in the Epstein files.
So a lot of people are running, right? That's like, nah, we're running for cover. We don't want anything to do. Somebody's out to get Jay-Z. I know that. I don't know who it is. And Nicki Minaj came on. And let's go and see, find it. Nicki Minaj came on and she said some things about, Jay-Z, and it was pretty, pretty, I guess she was pretty pissed off. let's see what Nicki, Nicki obviously has some personal issues with Jay-Z. But we're gonna go to video. We're gonna get a video up of that. Take this to wherever we can get. We're gonna follow this for a little bit to see what we can get out of. Why is Nicki? Black people always going against black people, huh?
On Jay-Z, and she's shocking the internet. Fresh off her appearance with Trump and a viral war with Don Lemon, Nicki is now calling out Jay-Z by name after those recent Epstein files started circulating. What she just claimed is completely unexpected, not because of the allegations themselves, but because Nicki is actually willing to say it out loud. After decades in the industry alongside these people, the question is, why is she breaking the code now? And more importantly, is these comments against Jay-Z connected to the new Epstein files? For the last few days, Nicki Minaj has been trending.
So why is she going against? Why is she going against Jay-Z? Let's see what my boy got to say here.
Y'all already know the rules. You're not understanding the people. These people have been sacrificing children as a form of gaining and maintaining power. If you ever vote Democrat again, you're just as soulless as they are and will perish. Maybe it's time for me to do some story time, since I was trying not to say what I know. They continue to tip bullying. Also, I won't be releasing any album until my contract is renegotiated, until I tell you about all the sabotages Enrico was finding out on the Billboard. Now, I don't really care about that. But it's something about her posting these pictures with Jay-Z at age 26 and Aaliyah at 15. Jay-Z at 27, Beyoncé at 16. And I'm like, how old was your brother when he got arrested for touching his 12-year-old daughter? And even though the evidence showed his DNA was all over her, all in her, in the anal, in a vaginal cavity, you still, Nicki, you still chose to bail him out of jail. You still chose to pay for his lawyer, and you still chose to attend his trial. And you have the audacity to talk about Jigga, my nigga. Are you serious? You named yourself, your alter ego, Roman, after Roman Polanski, who is the Epstein of the movie industry, who fled America because he has the same charges, so he wouldn't have to stand trial. Roman, remember Roman, your alter ego, Polanski? That's the second strike. Your third strike, because 3 strikes and you're out, is your husband. I'm trying to figure out how you had the audacity. Should we do a live? See, y'all gotta let me know in the comment section. Should we actually do a live and read the details of what your brother did? See, the part that I couldn't take no more, when I couldn't read no more, is when he was forcing himself through the back door. He told Shorty, or rather through the front door, if she don't open up the front door, if y'all get my drift, he's going to go through the back door of that 12-year-old. Nicki, you supported this. You stood tall on this. Even though the DNA told you, clearly told us, told the world, he was guilty. Y'all even tried to come up with a lie and say that the mother planted DNA evidence in the little girl's underwears, and that the mother did what she did to that little girl because she was trying to figure out a way to extort you. Y'all even created a lie to destroy a 12-year-old little girl, Nikki. And you have the audacity to be coming at Jay-Z? Are we really doing this? What is this world coming to? Nikki, you're not the person to be pointing fingers. I should upload this video on every page I have on YouTube. Nikki, you are not the one to be pointing fingers. Because your touch is evil. Your hands is evil. Your brother's evil. Your husband is evil. You went and got yourself a gangbanging pedo. Are you serious? Anybody that's watching this video that's paying attention to the times that we living in, and there's so many cases coming out, and I'm going to try to touch on as many as these cases. So y'all stay tuned and keep looking for my videos because I'm going.
And there's a lot of people who are her ops that may be mentioned. Now, I want to show you the Don Lemon thing real quick before I get to this Jay-Z thing, because it's important to give you the mindset that I believe Nicki Minaj has at this moment. Nicki Minaj went toe-to-toe with this journalist and, essentially, he got arrested. So
okay, so I know this morning, Mimi Brown and Front Page News talked to us about, some of the protest panel. He married Tim Malone, real estate agent, back in 2024.
They started tweeting Dr.
Okay.
Which is about the fact that she's homophobic. I think it...
basically, she blasts him. He says, he blasted her. I don't want to play this. And he eventually got locked up. Okay, he eventually got locked up. And he just recently got out, and he's addressing her. So, there's a lot of people saying Nicki got Don Lemon locked up, right? And let me use this video. Maybe this video.
You may know Allison Camerata from her many years of anchoring morning shows on CNN. Already hitting the ground running. Today, bringing us an exclusive interview with Don Lemon, days after he was involved in that ICE protest inside that Minneapolis church. Hey, Allison. Good to see you again. What was Don's demeanor during the interview, and what did he have to say about Minnesota?
Well, Del, it was really interesting to sit down with my longtime friend, former colleague from CNN, Don Lemon. I would say that Don was calm. He was resolute. He was unapologetic about everything that happened in that St. Paul, Minnesota church. He says he was just there acting as a journalist. He thinks that he was protected by the First Amendment in order to be inside that church covering the protest. But he also does believe that this tension with the Department of Justice is not yet over for him.
Okay. So here's I'm gonna play this little interview. Here we go. Come on, let's get to it.
Strong as always, and keep calm and carry on.
Because this federal magistrate judge, basically the Department of Justice said that they didn't have a case. I mean, the judge said the Department of Justice didn't have a case. But you think that it's not over?
No, I think it's not over. Because it doesn't matter if there's no law to fit. They will try to fit or retrofit something or go around a judge and just do it themselves. And it doesn't matter. And everything that they say.
Now, to put a little bit of context to this. So Don Lemon was arrested and indicted because he went into this church where there was like some like protest. I'm not too sure of all the details, but they indicted him with conspiracy against religious freedom, right? And he's saying, well, I was using my constitutional First Amendment right, which is not only the freedom of free speech, it's the freedom of press. And that's why, a magistrate judge is saying, hey, there's a lot of problems with you locking this guy up, because in the Constitution, in the First Amendment, it says there's a freedom of press. And if he was doing a journalistic job, right, how could he be also conspiring against religious freedom? So, it's kind of like a BS thing that they kind of locked him up for. But him and Nicki was getting into it, and Nicki was like, obviously, gloating that he got arrested. And at a point before he got arrested, Nicki actually said, lock his ass up, and he got locked up.
Pertains to protesters. I was not a protester. I was very clear about that. If you look at all the evidence, I'm not a protester. And so I think, Allison, not that I think I know, I was the biggest name. And so if they get a Don Lemon, woohoo, that's a victory. And also, I'm the one who put the information out there.
Okay, let's get to the part where he talks about Nicki. Here we go.
And all of those folks and Christians were going after her for her egregious.
And he talked to me about what he thinks is behind this.
To say that you're a Christian and you're calling me out as a Christian and I wouldn't do that to any other religion. Does she not recall the 2012 Grammy Awards when the Catholic Church came after her when they said her performance at the Grammys was sacrilege? When the Catholic League and all of those folks and Christians were going after her for her.
So he's blaming Nicki Minaj as being like, maybe he has this theory that because Nicki has the ear of Trump controls the DOJ, right? Maybe that's what he's thinking, that Nicki's voice is that powerful now. What? Damn.
Egregious performance at the Grammys. She's a hypocrite. And also, reportedly, she's possibly an undocumented person. She has said that she's undocumented. She came as a child, and I don't know if she's ever registered to be a citizen. And if that is true, under those rules, which are under Donald Trump's rules, she should be picked up, detained, reported, and deported. And those are the people.
Is no real credible reports or anything that the FBI has admitted that they have done secondary investigations on, or even did any inquiry, or even convene a grand jury of any sort that would allude to Jay-Z actually having sex with children. However, it's clear that his friend group were unscrupulous individuals that may have. And, at that point, I don't know if you want to go with the birds of a feather or, well, let's go with Kendrick's theory, right? The predators move in flock. That's what Kendrick would say, right? By the way, ain't it ironic? Kendrick says in the song, Drake's a PDF. Everybody like, yep, he telling the truth. Jay-Z's name is listed a bunch of times in the Epstein files, and people by the Department of Justice that came up over 20 years of investigation. And people are like, yo, this shit fake. This shit fake. This shit AI. It just goes to show. So anyway, Nicki is launching a piggyback attack on Jay. And we all know, if you haven't, just to refresh your memory about why she doesn't like Jay, she claims that Jay, finessed her with the title situation. She also made a claim that Jay-Z owes Nicki Minaj $200 million, right? Now, if you watch her tweets over the last year or so, especially after she's also attacked Jay-Z's companies, Roc Nation CEO, Desiree Perez, she's basically accused them of really doing some heinous things or trying to do some heinous things to her. So this is a really deep public feud at this point. Jay-Z's never acknowledged it, but we've seen many times Nicki has talked about not only Jay-Z, but also Desiree Perez. Okay. So Nicki Minaj gets online tonight, and Nicki Minaj says 4 hours ago, she says, are y'all understand that these people have been sacrificing children as a way of gaining and maintaining power? Now, I want to pause right there. The thing about this Epstein list, and it's very interesting. I want the people who, and I don't know if they'll backtrack off, it's not about Drake, but people took claims in a song, and some people felt like there was probably some smoke. If there's smoke, there might be some fire there, right? People are like, nah, maybe Drake is doing some shit, right? There's a lot of shit on this Jay shit. I wonder how these people are processing this, right? And what's really happened is that people like Nicki Minaj and also Kanye West, they seem like they were a little bit cuckoo. And I ain't gonna lie, people call them flat out crazy. They're now starting to look like they were trying to warn us of some things. There's a video where Kanye West mentions Pusha T and Jay-Z. And people are now looking at this saying Kanye was holding back.
Jay-Z and fucking Pusha T, they made their living killing our people. So how the fuck they gonna stand up for our people? You know what I'm saying? But we forget that because we love Jay-Z's music so much. We love Pusha's music so much, right? But you think they would ever, Beyonce had the best for somebody else?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You think they would ever tell the truth? No, if they told the truth, they didn't go to jail. You know what I'm saying? So you have liars.
Man.
Liars are now the face of our culture. If you take people like Jay-Z and fucking Pusha T, they made their living killing our people. So Jay-Z and fucking
Okay, right? There's an old video. I've always it's always kind of haunted me in a way because, has Ye been manic? Yeah, I think he's been manic at times. He's just never struck me as a liar, right? Now maybe you could say maybe he's been hallucinating or he's paranoid and he maybe have came up with something, but I don't ever think he's been maliciously lying. But do you remember when he got hospitalized at one time, but he was ranting on stage? He was on stage ranting right here, and he said, "Jay-Z, don't send them killers at me."
just beat that and win. I'm gonna hear that song so many times. You see you want to pay it for free. The vibes is back. It's to y'all like this. This is a moment in the matrix, bro. The vibes is back.
That line always struck me. Jay-Z, I know you got killers. Don't send them in my head. This is someone who made a song about Jay-Z. He said my big brother was Big's brother. I remember them celebrating when it was announced that Beyonce was pregnant or something. Jay-Z and Kanye celebrate pregnancy. I always remembered these moments, and I was just like, these guys are like brothers. So when I heard him say that, I'm like, what the fuck does he know that I don't know? Why is he talking about Jay-Z in this really mystical way where Jay-Z is this was right here. This is when Beyonce announced she was pregnant. I always remember this too. And I watched them, they look like brothers. They look like such friends. And even though I think Jay is a very interesting person because I think Jay is low-key always treated Kanye like he's Dame. We kind of get in post. Jay never really fuck with Dame like that. But Dame, respectfully to Dame, he wasn't a musician. He didn't have the talent. Kanye's a musician, so Kanye ended up panning out. And then at the time, Jay needed Kanye, and that's why they did Watch the Throne. But you could tell. I felt like Jay never really fucked with him like that. I don't know why that song Big Brother sounded weird. It would sound weird if Drake made a song saying, "Man, I just wish Wayne accepted me." You're like, what? What are you talking about? That would sound weird to me. The song Big Brother was it just never sat right with me. Big Brother Kanye lyrics. Shit was odd. Here's the lyrics right here, chat. My big brother was Big's brother, used to be Damon Big's brother, who was hip hop brother, who was No ID friend, my no ID, my mentor. Let the story begin. It's a hard knock tour life, sell out, picture us in the mall, copping iceberg, yelling out Jigga. Yes, that's what we yell out. I got to spell out and tell about Jay, yay so shy that he won't step to his idol to say hi. He's talking about how much he idolizes Jay, standing there like a mime, let the chance pass by, and back of my mind, he could change my life with all these beats. I did at least hear it. Okay, let's skip down. He says, fresh off the plane, I'm off the baseline, nothing handed out, I'm about to take mine. Around the same time of that blueprint one and these beats in my pocket, that was a blueprint for him. I'd play my little songs in that old back room, he'd bob his head and say, damn, oh, that's you? But by the Black album, this is 2004 now, I was blacking out, partying, SOBs. We had a packed crowd, so Kanye's on at this point. Big Brother got his show at the Madison Square Garden. So Ye is in the game now. And then Jay got to show at Madison Square Garden. And I'm like, yeah, we gonna be there. But not only did I not get a chance to spit it, Carlene told me I could buy 2 tickets. They ain't give the nigga the free tickets. He had to buy tickets like he was just like a regular fan. I guess Big Brother was thinking a little bit different and kept little brother at bay, at a distance. But everything that I felt was more bogus only made me more focused, only wrote more potent. Only thing I want to know is why I get looked over. I guess I'll understand when I get more older. Big Brother saw me at the bottom of the totem. Now I'm at the top and everybody on the scrotum. Jay never really fuck with this nigga, man. Jay never fuck with him. It's like, y'all remember this video? Everybody knew, like, we knew that Dame was going to end up where he was going to end up once we seen this. Jay-Z, Dame Dash, Summer Jam. You ever seen this right here? You could tell this nigga did not fuck with Dame Dash. Look. Here we go. This is where you know he was tired of Dame Dash, man. Look. Look.
Tell me about Summer Jam 2001. Crazy. It's live. We the champions. You heard Michael Jackson. We live. King of rap, the king of pop. Holla. Turned out crazy. Big event, 20,000. It's the rock, you bastards. So
Jay's like, yo, why am I with these bozos, man?
ways, you heard?
Like Bleak is like a stepchild, so you have to like, show Bleak like love, but like Dame is just like, look at this guy, man.
Holla.
Should have stayed in food and beverage, man.
Beanie. We don't do much. Summer Jam 2001, man. How was it for you, man? We don't do much.
I ain't gonna lie, man. That shit, look.
These niggas is bugging, yo. Like, crazy. It's live. We the champions. You heard Michael Jackson.
Poe clipped us after that. Yeah, he was like, I'm done with these niggas. I would clip me.
We live. King of rap, the king of pop. Holla. Turned out crazy. Big event, 20,000. It's the rock, you bastards.
Poe just felt like it was nothing to say. Like,
nah, he was over y'all niggas, man. Anyway, fast forward. Now Kanye is saying, Jay, don't send your killers to kill me. What? Wham, pick up the phone and spot. Wham, pick up the phone, Wham. Wham, pick up the phone. Inspired. This was the original version. I ain't gonna lie to you. Call me. Jay-Z, call me, bro. Wow. Oh, he used this is 2016. Said to make America great again. Oh, he used Trump's slogan back then. Wow.
Like that. Guess what? Y'all need the vibes. I was hurt.
Yo, people are leaving. Like, see, some of his fans was leaving.
Feelings matter, bro. The way
You see people leaving?
up so high. Popularity. Radio spins.
By the way, I always listen to this rant and think that this was Kanye telling the truth. He might have been maybe exaggerating. Maybe he was a little bit paranoid a little bit, because I'm not saying he wasn't manic, but I don't think he lied.
Me and Kid Cudi are aliens right here, bro.
Okay.
The right, but I'm gonna say how I feel.
They lowered it, and I guess they got him off. And by the way, he went to the hospital after this, and he was that's why he always says there was this guy who was like a therapist or something like that. They helped put him on a hold, and he was there for a while.
This is why they took him off the stage, maybe, because he was exposing too much information. So there's a lot going on at the top. Right? There's a lot of evil, a lot of wicked. We all know it. We all are becoming aware of this. But the Epstein files is a whole another animal. The question is, do the people like Jay-Z enough to forgive him or let it go? I don't know. But I don't know why Nicki Minaj is coming out and like the brother said Nicki brother was caught with some underage, her boyfriend is a pedophile. I mean, I don't know why Nicki's coming out. Maybe it's about money. Maybe it could be personal, no business, and she just wants to try to, I guess, add more shame to his name. I mean, he's worth 1.7 billion, so he doesn't ever have to do anything. He just can stay in his house all day and never come out. Jay-Z's not really a public speaker, really. He doesn't really do a lot of stuff, so he can just sit on his money. He's not going to jail. So I don't know the point of Nicki Minaj's, or what is she trying to gain by this? Kanye, we know Ye just gets emotional. Ye is very emotional. He's one of the more emotional artists, I've seen. He really gets in his feelings about, being acknowledged or being, family oriented. And when, Jay-Z's a businessman, Beyonce, they're business people. It's nothing personal. It's just business. So, of course, Ye gonna always come out and speak his feelings, the way he feels. That's just how he moves. So,
okay. Now let's get back to this. So Nicki Minaj unleashes this verbal onslaught on Jay-Z. She says, "Are you understanding that these people have been sacrificing children as a way of gaining and maintaining power? If you ever vote Democrat again, you're just as soulless as they are, and you will perish. Maybe it's time for me to do some story times, since I wasn't trying to say what I know, yet they continue to attempt bullying. Also, I won't be releasing an album until my contract is renegotiated, and until I tell you about all the sabotage this Rico is finding out about Billboard." Now, that's also really telling. She says she will not be releasing an album until her contract is renegotiated. From what I know, she is signed to Universal. So, to give you the last update I've gotten on her contract or any contract with Cash Money, Universal came in. They told Birdman, "Hey, if you don't pay Wayne, we will pay Wayne, but we will let you keep the back catalog, but we want to take their contracts going forward." And it was literally a buyout. Now, the reason why Universal did it is that Birdman had like this amazing split. I forgot what it was. I think it was like a 90-10 or like a 95. I can't remember what it was. But basically, because Universal wasn't eating as much as they could have off of these people's off of these rappers' contracts, they figured, to pay, they actually feel like Birdman should have paid the money to Wayne. But they're like, we'll pay him the money, but now we could get our appropriate fee from these guys, and we own their new catalog. So that was the idea why they quote unquote bailed Birdman out. Drake and Nicki were shifted to Universal. Okay, they're shifted to, well, not Universal. I mean Republic. Everything's under Universal, but Republic Records, which is kind of like the rival to Interscope Records, which Kendrick is over there. So when she says she needs her contract renegotiated, I don't see how that has to do with Jay-Z at all. Jay-Z runs Rock Nation. Rock Nation is, that record label is different and not under a major. It's powered by Live Nation. But she says she won't be dropping an album until her contract's renegotiated. So I don't know who she's beefing with for the contract. And she says, and until I tell you about the sabotages, Rico is finding out about Billboard. Now, she puts an associated picture, and the picture shows a 26-year-old Jay-Z with supposedly a 15-year-old Aaliyah. Now, we got to do some fact checking here. How old was Aaliyah in 1996? In 1996, she turned 17. So she turned 17 on January 1996. So if this is 1996, as this picture alludes to, unless this was before January 16th, she was most likely 17. She was most likely 17, not 15. So I want to be accurate. Now, granted, is she still underage? Yes. Let me ask y'all the question. 26, 17. That's, I think we're saying that's out of bounds, correct? Like, you know, we're not going to be like, you know, weird here. But if someone's 18 and their girl is 17, I don't think we're like going crazy, right? 18 and 17, all right. Especially if the birthday's about to come up, they're both about to be 18, whatever, right? But 26 and 17 might be a little bit odd. Let's look though. Let's say if it was 1996, right? Aaliyah was 17 in 1996. How old was Jay-Z in 1996? We can't go off the picture. We just got to go off. He was 27. Ugh. Or 26 or 27. Who knows? 27 or 26 and 17 is odd. I will say that. That's odd. Now, we might never get the answers to these things, but is this a picture from 1996? Was he romantically involved with her in 1996? Let me look. Jay-Z and Aaliyah in 1996. Let's see if we can find credible evidence. We need credible evidence. There's a Facebook post. Aaliyah and Jay-Z were briefly connected in the late 90s during the early stages of her career. And while Jay-Z was a rising hip-hop artist, their relationship was never confirmed, but people close to them, including industry insiders, have said Jay-Z was pursuing her, and they did spend time together. It became more complicated when she ultimately grew closer to Dame Dash. Now, I'm going to be honest. I think a lot of this stuff is debunked by Dame Dash, who has frequently said he had sex with Aaliyah first. And he swore that he agrees Jay-Z was pursuing her, but he said Jay-Z never had sex with her then. Now, I don't know. Are we talking about the sex here, or are we talking about the pursuing? I don't know if he was pursuing her when she was, well, it wasn't 15, it was 17. I don't know. But it's kind of, you know, I really don't want to shoot nobody no bail. I wasn't around at that time, right? Then they show 1997, Jay-Z and Beyonce. How old was Beyonce in 1997? How old was Beyonce? Oh, shit. Did Jay-Z know Beyonce 19? Wait. He met her in 1990. Beyonce met Jay-Z 1997. She was 16 and he was 20. Ooh. Well, he met. We don't know. I don't know, man. I want to stay out of this.
When they talk about where you might go. I mean, that's obvious because Beyonce has this deal.
No.
Want to do some music. You know how people, you see each other and you respect each other's music. You know, it's always that conversation. Yo, we got to do something. You know that.
Right.
The time filler.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When that time filler turns into something real, then it's.
Right into how did two of the biggest names in music even meet?
Well, we met a long time ago. Award shows. He taught me how to be a woman.
So Nikki throws this in the mix. Let's go to the next tweet. Nikki says, your favorite artist has been practicing rituals in a satanic cult where they take babies from other countries and mutilate and kill them as a form of a blood sacrifice to their god. You see, when your master is Satan, you must constantly shed blood. However, the jig is up. Ooh. Double entendre, I would believe. Don't even ask her how, huh? She says, do I do a daily story time about who's been doing what? I ain't gonna lie. I'm so messy. I got to click yes. Yep. 82%. People's 96,000 votes. 82% says yes. She then tweets, Trevor refuses to come out of the closet when everyone in the industry knows his boyfriend. What? Who's Trevor? She does say allegedly, though. So Nikki's a little bit aware of not getting sued. She said, they sabotaged my documentary because I spoke about the abuse I suffered. Yeah, she's also accused them of supposedly messing with like something of the sort like that, right? They've been trying to stall all my projects in hopes I'd lose a bunch of money and beg them for help. Their leaders still think it's a joke. The destruction that's about to come down on them isn't funny. I told y'all, leave me alone. Now you'll understand why you should have just sat there and taken your meds. She says, imagine if a 30-year-old rapper was out there with a 16-year-old in this day and age and how y'all would have had his head on a platter. The guy was hugging and humping on teens in broad daylight. Next, I'll get on the owner of the shade. What? Of the shade room in what? Next, I'll get on the shade room and what? Maybe I should discuss the brainwashing techniques they use. Why does she keep putting up Chucky? Then she says, what in the fuck? And she hashtagged it child predator. Hey, all y'all niggas who love comment on me, bro. Hey, everybody, hey, I'm gonna keep it a bean with you. Hey, oh, let me signal here. Hey, I seen everybody do think pieces on supposedly a non-existent event that didn't happen, but I seen everybody role playing on podcasts. What is happening if I got slapped or not, which it didn't happen, but whatever, cool. I'll let y'all rock with that. But I need all of y'all to keep the same energy and talk.
So the question is, will this affect Jay-Z's legacy? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Nicki's after him. A lot of people unfollowing him. Nicki made a scene at the Grammys. So there's a lot going on here. I'm going to end this live, and I'll be back probably in 20, 30 minutes with another live on another topic. But thank you for coming. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new. Thank you for coming.